welcome to the yard. I'm gonna go down to the shed and get a little shovel because I'm gonna harvest my garlic today. Now I'm a little bit behind, or maybe a little more than a little behind on harvesting the garlic, you'll see. And if I get a chance today, I'm gonna try to do something with my cabbage, but I'll just do what I'm able to do. Katie is here and she's helping watch the boys. We actually were cooking in there, both of us. Ooh, I think there were some bees up there. Okay, I got me 2 shovels. And yeah, we were cooking this morning. I was making the carrot salad and Katie was making us some pasta. And now we're outside with the boys. So I've got myself just a little box to just put this garlic in because it's not a ton. And just get it into the house, and then I'll figure out kind of how and where I want to lay it out to dry and cure. So this is what it's looking like. Pretty pitiful. I'm also growing an impressive bed of weeds, but this was just kind of the best I could do. You know, we were gone to the beach for a week, and it might have been better to harvest it before I left, but that's all right. Sometimes you just got to do what you can, and I like what my mom tells me. I don't remember her saying it when I was young, but she said it as I got older. Sometimes a lick and a promise just has to be enough. Like, that's all you can do. And I've told myself that a lot in my adult years, but really just since I got married and had kids, you know. Sometimes a lick and a promise, that's just all you can do. You can't do anymore, and that just has to be enough. So just having any garlic at all, even if these heads are not very big, just having any at all, I think is pretty neat, you know. So far, I think all these heads are fairly small, but that's okay. I will also be honest with you and just tell you, I did not water this early on like I should have. And I think the plants kind of got stressed, and it would have been better if I had, you know, really kept it watered, but I just didn't. That might be the biggest one yet. This is a hardneck variety of garlic. And I've planted garlic. This is I guess only the 2nd year I've planted it. And I've planted it here in this bed twice. I think it would be cool next year, maybe in some of our new spaces that we've added, to just do like big long rows of it instead of taking up like a whole bed like this. I think it might be a better use of space to plant it in a long row and use this bed for something else. So this, I think, is the biggest head maybe yet. You know, you can see it in my hand for reference. Not huge, but so there's my box full of garlic. You know, that's a decent amount, especially, you know, compared to the cloves that you plant. What you get, I'm pretty pleased with that. Come over here to the shadier part of the yard just a little bit. So I do think I'm going to try to at least get some of my cabbage. If I can just get it out of the ground and get it into the house, that would be a big step, or a big feat, as my mom would say. But I wanted to give just like a general kind of garden, I guess, update real quick. So of course, if you've been following along, you know all the stuff that's been going on and about the dirt and everything. I have yet to, but I still want to send the dirt off to be tested. Like, contact my local, I don't know, is that county extension office or whoever, and just have it tested. Now, I just not done that yet because we were getting busy packing for the beach and all those things. But one thing I wanted to address is, so many people said, I don't know if your soil's bad, it's just so chippy, it's not broke down, it's probably robbing nitrogen from the soil. I think you're exactly right. Hi. They're fine. When we initially got that dirt, okay, if you didn't see the video, you know, that dirt just felt like a godsend because we had all these new spaces and dirt is expensive and what are we going to do? And And it was a godsend. Like, I totally know that that's true. And I did notice when we got it, it seemed chippy, but especially once it settled and it rained, I thought, is this really going to be good to planting? Because I know that if soil's not broken down, like, I know the chips could rob nitrogen from the soil. I fully knew that. Oh, I haven't seen.
He's missing.
Okay, hold on. We got to go find
He's
Ira.
not missing. He's just around here. He ran around the side of the house and I haven't seen him.
Okay. Okay, we found Ira. He was literally just like 3 steps away in the bottom part of the yard. Anyways, the dirt, what I'm really trying to get at, the dirt was a godsend, but what I feel just in my spirit, and maybe all this will sound really strange, but it's something that I feel led to share, but that I want to share. It was a godsend, but it was just for a different purpose than I thought that it would be. And so I think that's a lot of the problem, is it's just robbing nitrogen from the soil, and that's why a lot of the plants are just not able to grow. Now, definitely things have taken off since I've been gone and came back, and it's really not too big of a deal. Maybe it means that this garden season is not maybe exactly what I hoped or thought it would be, but I can encourage those things to break down, and maybe by next year. But like, here's the kicker, you know. Here's like the biggest thing, and I still want to get the dirt tested, especially because I have one bed that is solely a mixed bag, and the stuff in it, I swear, has not grown even half an inch in like 6 weeks. That's not normal. And we've had rain. That part's not normal, so I would be very interested to have that tested. But here's like the main thing that I'm getting at, and what I really feel, and like I said, maybe this will just sound strange. God did send us that dirt, but it was for like a totally different purpose than what I thought it was for. And it was more not to sound super cliche or dumb, but it was more to like tend the garden of my heart than to tend this garden. Getting that dirt, and yeah, the stuff's not broke down, it's robbing nitrogen from the soil, things are not growing like I hoped they would be. That was a blessing in disguise to slow me down, to slow my roll. And to teach me the main lesson, and if you don't get anything else from this video, but this right here, don't let your desires set your limits. If you let your desires set your limits, you end up in probably not a good place. Burnout, exhausted, discontent. And it seems like that should be such an easy lesson. If I'm being honest, I'm like, but I know that. I know that with my head, that lesson should be so easy for me. But it wasn't. I wasn't listening. I might have known it with my head, but not my heart. And so that's kind of like the biggest thing. And I did say that in the last garden update I did. Like, I think this may be one of my favorite gardens ever, because it's like spiritually what it's taught me. So next year, before I get really gung-ho and just wanting to plan, and you know, when you're a creative person, you just, you know, you want to plan things, and I could do this and I could do that, and it seems so obvious to me now that how did I think I could do any of that? Not that I'm talking bad about myself, but I have a toddler and I have other responsibilities. How did I think I could just have this Better Homes and Garden worthy garden and can all this stuff and do all this stuff? It's just not in my wheelhouse. But the best thing about that is it's okay. It doesn't have to be. So that's been a gigantic thing for me, is just don't let my desires set my limits. And I have to pray on a daily basis that God would help me with that and keep me humble and show me and guide me. And one other thing, and then we're going to get to the cabbage, is, you know, of course I've read in the book of Proverbs before, but I've decided, okay, I'm going to start the book of Proverbs. And I was reading in there this morning, and of course the chapter 1 is just talking about kind of setting the whole thing up, the importance of wisdom and why you need wisdom. And I think it's in verses, I can't remember, maybe first couple of verses, wisdom is even personified like as this woman who's shouting in the streets. But then there's also very clear, if you don't listen to wisdom, if you don't listen to her, like, here's what's going to happen to you. But the difference, knowledge is just like a collection of facts, and that's good, you need that. Wisdom is knowing how to use those facts in daily life. So that to me this morning just totally kind of felt like a God thing, like putting words to, I guess, how I've been feeling. Well, how I know these things. Where's the gap here? Where's the disconnect? If I know some of these things, why can I not? Well, wisdom is putting them into action on a daily basis. God can help you do that. You know, the book of James tells us we can ask for wisdom, and he'll give us wisdom and discernment. But those are just thoughts about the garden. And now when I look at it, even though maybe it's not initially what I wanted it to be or hoped it to be, and there's weeds everywhere, but I see something beautiful because it's taught me a lesson that I really needed to learn. And sometimes you can't learn any other way besides just, I don't know, something like this. So anyways, you can comment below and let me know if you relate to that at all. But I think Katie still has the boys, so I'm gonna see maybe if I can just get the cabbage into the house. So this cabbage, about a week and a half or so ago, before I left for the beach, looked fabulous. Obviously the bugs found it, but that's okay. I'm hoping that maybe I can still, peel off the bad leaves, and I think there'll still be some stuff that's usable down in there. That's the size of a basketball.
That's a big one.
Oh my gosh. It looks like it's split though, because it's so big.
You get what you can get out of it. And you get
Why is this head of cabbage so large?
It's a big one.
Oh my gosh. That's insanity. Sorry if you had plans tonight, Austin. Now it may be eaten through with worms, there's a lot still on it. But check out, like, in diameter.
That's wild.
The size of that cabbage.
That's bigger than my head.
It's crazy.
That's nearly,
I don't know.
long ways like that, that's nearly 10 inches across. That's
Probably,
insane.
yeah. Hopefully there'll be something, that worms left me something.
Right in the center, I see what you're saying.
Taking a break for lunch, and Katie made us this delicious pasta and zucchini. There's some cheese in there, and this is some carrot salad I made. We got some of, like, the blueberry protein bake.
I put tomatoes in mine.
Oh, I bet that's good. I wish I could eat tomatoes. If I had any tomatoes coming in from the garden, I would offer you those.
I brought some tomatoes.
Are those from Mom and Dad's garden?
2 of them are. These are. I picked. The rest of them are from the fruit stand, and these I pulled. They're Cherokee purple, so people are gonna be like,
Maybe
those
black
aren't-
cherries.
Yeah, or something like that.
Black cherry, yeah.
Yeah, people are gonna be like, those aren't ripe, but they are.
Yep.
They are ripe. They just look like that. But they should be good, and this should be good in there too. If I
Should
just
be
kinda-
delicious.
I like tomato. I went my whole life and was like, nope, don't want tomatoes raw or plain. And then all of a sudden one day I woke up and realized what type of crazy I had been and
Oh, I get it.
what I was missing. So
That's how I was with tomatoes, but it was just earlier on in my 20s when I decided that I liked them. So I think this right here,
that looks pretty good.
there's you some carrot salad. This should be a pretty tasty lunch and maybe give me the strength I need to process all that
That's right.
cabbage.
Give you the strength to carry on with your cabbage.
So this is several days later, maybe even a week later, and I'm so thankful that Austin helped me that night. I don't know, it was maybe 8:30 and until we got it all done, but I've got all my jars lined up, as you can see, and I just keep them in a box, so if while they're working off, like that's what we would call it, if anything spills out, it's all contained in a box and it doesn't make a mess. So these will have to set several months, honestly, until they're done. But I'm so excited. We're gonna have delicious sauerkraut for the winter and the fall and spring. So it might be done by the fall. We'll see. And then the garlic. So as you can see, this garlic, you know, the bulbs didn't get that big and they don't really have any paper on them. And I think I just left them in the ground too long. To be honest, but that's okay, because what I was planning on doing with all this garlic anyways, it's not really drying it for storage, but processing it, mincing it, and freezing it, so that way when I'm ready to cook with it, I have it ready to go. So for the kraut, now when I was growing up, my parents used to make it in a big crock, and it would just stay kind of in the corner of the kitchen, and they would tell us, you know, do not touch it, leave it alone. And then as I got older, they started doing it how my grandma, you know, my granny who passed away earlier this year, how she did it. So that's what you saw us doing, which was just putting some salt, like a teaspoon for a quart jar, maybe half a teaspoon for a pint jar, and putting the cabbage in there. We like it really fine, but you don't have to do it that fine. A lot of people don't shred it that fine. And then we put a teaspoon of sugar at the top, fill it with some water, and you could see us kind of tamping it down just a little bit to get more in the jar, and then we just seal it off and leave it. And I'll leave it probably until the fall. So it's kind of a different way of doing it, but I know we're not the only ones who do this, but my mom has an in-depth video on how to do it, so I will leave that link in the description. But we really like doing it this way because it's so incredibly easy, and it's so good. So a few things. I didn't know how much I wanted to share at the end of this video. Sometimes I try to keep things more cohesive, like this is just garlic and just cabbage, but then I like to share other things. So at the beginning half of the video, you know, when I talked about the lesson I had learned, don't let my desires set the limits, and those kind of things, I guess I wanted to talk just a little bit more about that, but just a little update. So since I processed through that, really just like a week ago, we got sick again. Woody got sick again. I'm not sick yet. I hope not to. I hope I won't be, and Austin's not yet. We went to Bible school, and oh my gosh, it was so much fun. The boys loved it. It was just so special. It was so great. We took them every night. There were several kids who got saved. Praise the Lord. That was amazing. We had such a wonderful time. But unfortunately, strep throat was going around. And Woody caught strep at the Bible school. Ira's not sick. I don't think he'll get sick. I think he would have been by now. Of course, we've kept them separate. So Bible school ended on a Friday, and Woody woke up Saturday morning with a fever. Then by that next morning, you know, when we looked in his mouth, I was like, I'm just going to check in there, because bless his heart, he would want to eat something, but then he would just be like, mouth, he can say mouth, and he would do that. And I was like, I had myself convinced at first that it was teething, because he is cutting some 2-year molars. But so we looked in his mouth, and I was like, that does not look good. Let's take you, you know, your throat does not look good. That definitely looks like strep. Let's take you to the urgent care. And isn't this just a God thing? We didn't know if we wanted to go. You know, it was Sunday morning, and it was like, should we just take you to urgent care? We definitely can't take you to church. You're sick, and we don't want to infect other people, plus you feel bad. I would rather you be seen by your regular pediatrician. But after we looked in his throat, you know, I was like, praying, what should we do? That was a clear sign we just need to go. Well, wouldn't you know, so not his usual pediatrician in kind of the next town over in Georgia, but there's another one who is closer to us, and sometimes we see both. It just depends. And she was working, and I had forgot all about that. She told us one time when Woody was sick, you know, months and months ago, that sometimes she works at urgent care. Wouldn't you know, that is just a God thing. I was so happy to see her, because she's very knowledgeable, very efficient, very just really good at what she does. And Woody freaks out at the doctor, bless his little heart. I mean, flips out if they're just trying to like put the little thing on his finger to check his oxygen. I mean, he just screams. I mean, it's chaos. But she is very skilled. You know, she works in pediatrics, so she knows all the tips and tricks for that. So that was very much a God thing. And so unfortunately, he's on antibiotics again. So it's been a rough couple days, but I think he's on the mend. But the antibiotics, I'm very thankful for him, but I am concerned because he just had to take them like 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to put a probiotic in his milk, vitamin D, some other things. Your thoughts on how to build back, you know, your system. I know Tylenol depletes glutathione, which is like your master antioxidant, things like that. Almost like a protocol of, okay, after you've been sick and maybe you've had to take antibiotics, and I know for antibiotics, there's a huge like protocol for your gut, and that's going to be easier to do for us as adults than it is for kids, but your thoughts nonetheless. Okay, something else I wanted to share. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to share about this or not, but I share a lot with y'all, so it feels a little bit weird sometimes if I feel like there's something going on that's big or that I don't share with y'all. That feels weird to me. So you remember Austin's rash and everything that's been going on with that, and then that Woody had that rash and everything. A couple weeks ago, we did find out we had mold under the house. So we have a crawl space, and we are mere feet off the creek. As you know, if you've seen the videos, we're mere feet off the creek. Like, I can step out my backyard and take about 3 big steps and I would be in the creek. And we were having like some rat issues with things getting under the crawl space, and I don't know, was that like this time last year? And so we were making sure to keep the vents closed off. Well, the air conditioner under there condensates, and in that closed off environment it started to set up some mold. And it's not like severe yet, but we had like a mold remediation company come out over the last just honestly 2 months and going back and forth, and what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? Of course, it's very expensive, and trying to figure everything out. Well, the guys are here today. They started today. They're going to clean it and put a barrier down. There was a barrier down like in this old part of the house, but it's just so old that it's basically gone, and so it's just the dirt. And my dad actually yesterday installed a plug because we're going to put a dehumidifier down there and, you know, plumb it out the side of the house to where it can just run constantly. So that's been going on, and Woody's rash went away. Austin is still struggling with his, but of course, as I talked about in a recent video, I still tend to think maybe it's dairy, but I definitely think that's going to be better, especially going forward. You can't be living on the mold, because then it's the crawl space and you're breathing all the air that comes up, then the air ducts are like pulling it up. Oh my gosh, crazy. So that's been going on. Okay, now back to the garden. A few things about the garden, and then I will end this video. But I need to be better about telling people, you know, so thank you for clicking on the video. Thank you for being here with us, and subscribe. A lot of our analytics, as I think for a lot of people, show that the views and the subscriber count is like way off. Most people who watch are not subscribed, and it helps us. So that way, if you subscribe or you like a video and you want to keep hanging out and see us, it's okay if you don't, but we'll pop back up in your algorithm, and that just helps us a little bit stay relevant in the algorithm. So first, I mean, it's just an amazing blessing that I was able to harvest anything from the garden with the issues that we've had. So just amazing to see those jars of sauerkraut, to see the garlic, my peas, like I can see out my window, they have really come along. I actually picked some beans, just a few of them, to roast the other night. The pumpkins and like the winter squash, oh my gosh, they're taking over. They're just taking over everywhere. So I just have to remember, it's such a blessing. I didn't know if I would have anything just a couple months or weeks ago. And it made me think of this email that I got. You know, I got a lot of emails and comments, and I'm sorry, I know I haven't answered everything. Trying to help me troubleshoot things with the garden, which I thank you so much for that. And I just remember someone sent me this picture, and they said, it's not much, but I have this little garden. And it was a couple grow bags, and it was a couple rows of beans, and they were maybe like this wide. And I looked at that, and I was like, that's what I need. That's what I needed this year, was that. Not this colossal, not that I'm not grateful. There's still abundance out there, even though, you know, there's been some bad things happen to the garden. I thought, that's what I need. And it just reminds me of what I said in the beginning of the video. It seems so obvious now that I was biting off so much more than I could chew. Why would I do that? But some lessons you have to learn, I guess, the hard way. And that's going to be a big lesson for me. Don't let my desires set my limits. We have limits as humans, but for someone like me who's loves to work and productivity, and if you've been on the channel, you've heard me say all this, but it's something that I like to share because I think it's common to a lot of us. We have human limits, and that's a good thing. And when you try to start living outside of those, that's when bad things happen. And so, but it's humbling to me that God even wants to do this work in my life, because he can shine the light in the darkness. He can show you what's going on in your life and show you where you're making it harder than it needs to be. Maybe show you some unfruitful habits or patterns or thoughts or whatever it is in your life. He can shine that light and illuminate that, bring it to your attention, and then he can help you fix it. He can help you bring it captive to Christ. He can help you work on it to where you're living in balance and you're not struggling in this certain area. He can, through his word and through the Holy Spirit, help you. And that's so humbling that he even wants to do that. You know, he can remove those kind of bad parts and replace them. Just a few other things here along those lines, and then I'm going to sign off here. I remember one time I sat under a pastor one time that said he was on a construction site because he worked construction with his son, and his son was, I don't know, probably 15 or 16 at that time. And his son asked him something like, "Daddy, where are you going?" or something. And his dad and the pastor's reply was, I'm going to heaven. And that always stuck with me, because he was trying to use that to teach perspective of things. And so even in terms of the garden, in terms of everything I've said, is just keeping that perspective. Praise God, I'm on my way to heaven. And so that means I want all my priorities to be heavenly, inside of eternity. I want everything I'm doing to be considering that. And that means that my desires need to have limits. And if I let the desires set the limits, it's a problem. And that's just the daily perspective. You know, I'm on my way to heaven. Right now, today, I'm on my way to heaven. And I still have work here to do. But keeping that perspective. And then balance. That's just the last thing. Balance. That's something that the Holy Spirit is speaking to me lately. And this is certainly a part of it. Don't let your desires set your limits. And if you think of a scale and things are imbalanced, if you have too much of one thing, they're tipping and they're not balanced. Too much of this thing, they're tipping and they're not balanced. And certainly within the Christian life, you need balance. I think balance is biblical. I think balance is something that we should all strive for, to where we don't have one area of our life out of whack compared to the other. Because when we're balanced and we're living for the Lord, and the balance is, if we do too much, that starts to, either we're relying on ourselves, or sometimes we get in too big of a hurry and we've got too much going on, and it can be hard to hear the Holy Spirit. There's a lot more I could say there, but just that balance, and reminding myself, balance is not doing everything, Corey. That means sometimes, I seen this awesome YouTube short of this girl who just had her 7th child, and she said, people ask me all the time, you know, Christy, how do you do this? How do you homeschool and raise your 7 kids and clean the house? And she said, I don't. Some days I spend more time with my kids, and so the house is not clean. Vice versa. Sometimes we have to do more at homeschool, so this doesn't happen. But it's all about a balance. And again, in some ways, that's so common sense. And it's interesting. Our analytics tell us that most of the people who watch our channel are a lot older than us. They're in their 60s and 70s. So a lot of you know that. You know, you are a lot wiser than I am. You are older. You've been through more. And I'm just learning. I'm learning so much, and I'm just passionate about sharing it with anyone and everyone, but also because I know there's people out there like me who struggle with some of the same stuff I do, and God is so gracious to teach us and help us and guide us and save us from ourselves. So I wanted to share that. So I think that was all I had today. Like I said, so excited about that sauerkraut. It's so good. That's going to be awesome. I've not put the garlic up yet, as you can see, so I've got to be working on that sometime soon. But thank you for joining me for this video. Thank you for, you know, being here for every video you watch. It means a lot to us. We love doing this. I love this community. I can't say that enough. God bless you. God keep you. And I will see you on the next one.